we're filled with joy.
This is our new manifestation.
So
we're fun and we're filled with joy. We're happy and we're having a good day.
I like that one too.
Everything is right in the world.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Polite as Fuck. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are doing good. This time, next week, Erica and I will be in Miami. This time, next week, I have to just keep saying it.
When this comes out, we're in Miami.
I know. Yeah,
that's what you're saying. We're in Miami right now.
Yeah. This is crazy.
I know.
I love it.
Finally happening. If you've been listening, we've talked about going to Miami for
at least a year.
I feel like when you moved down here, it was like, we have to go to Miami. We talked about moving to Miami.
Yeah. Remember that? That was fun. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what this trip brings. Yeah. That's what my aunt said. She's like, so you guys coming down? Is this like a looking for apartment type situation? I was like, well, we just signed a year lease, but I don't know. Maybe you never know what happens. We
actually really haven't signed anything.
Yeah, literally.
He never sent us a lease, so.
No. Month by month.
If you're listening, Ahmed, don't send it over.
Just in case. I really need this episode because I need to bring some good vibes, good energy into my life.
More passion, more energy.
Because this day has just been a little bit of a just poop, like a poop day,
It's been a poop day, which is so interesting because it was literally, for the topic that we're talking about, like full of this all weekend, like community overload maybe
yeah,
that's why.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it was, which is typically not something I would think you could go like too much of.
Yeah.
I think there was too much of a lot of things.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't the community as much as like the lack of sleep, the drinking, the smoking, the sun,
Yeah, probably all that. But this week we're talking about community. It's like a very broad way of saying what we're talking about. But recently, a few weeks ago, one of our friends hosted us for book club for a book I did not read. But she had printed out this like piece of paper that had all of these really great questions about not only what we were supposed to read, but also just around like community, and talked about like she sent us a podcast or a book to listen to, like the chapter, and Erica and I have just been really thinking about those questions quite a bit. And then this past weekend or 2 weekends ago, can't figure out time right now, one of our other friends had this like Sundays backyard market thing with like a yoga flow and like dog central and a bunch of just like community made like pottery and art and granola and all these different things. And it just really ties into what we're talking about today. And I just think we say this so much with our friend group that it becomes like annoying, but like it is incredible how many people like we have in this community. Like you have like your neighbors, yes, but I'm like more so meaning like the people that you choose to be around, and how accepting and loving that group is, and like how often like we can bring people into that. And I just think that was so full this weekend, and I think it just like kind of kicks like it's constantly what we've been talking about. So we're like, put it in our podcast.
Put it in the pod. Yeah, I feel like this is not something I've ever had in my life before, this strongly, but it does tie a little bit into what we were talking about 2 episodes ago around like the effort that it takes to build this, because I didn't just like fall into our laps, and like this has taken literally years to build for me, and like being willing to plan things, like not just all of these people plan things. All of these people in the group have their different like niches and things that they enjoy doing, and they invite people and they make plans, and that's how this has been able to build. But the book that we were supposed to read is called All About Love by Bell Hooks, but chapter 8 specifically was where these questions stem from. The first question that it asks is talking about service and kindness. And it says to share a sweet moment you've witnessed in San Diego recently. So do you want to start?
Yeah. I struggled with this. And, like, even now, like, I knew the questions beforehand. And I was like, fuck, I got to think about things. And I just, like, want to preface with I have to train, or you or we have to retrain our brains into, like, looking at the kindness. Mm-hmm. And I feel like just a point that I wanted to bring up is, like, I am so quick to, like, hop on the phone to my sisters, to my mom, to you, to, like, anybody that's close to me and talk about, like, the shit or the bad or the crazy car accident or the crazy, like, anything that it's, like, very rare do I pick up the phone and be like, I just saw this amazing act of kindness in my neighborhood today that, like, you know what I mean? It's, I don't really see that, but I know that it's there.
Yeah.
And so, God, is it going to be really annoying if I say the market? No. Oh, okay.
You can say whatever you want. This is our podcast. You can say literally anything.
I think for me that, like, the act of kindness that I saw within San Diego is the market that our friend hosted, and I've been to obviously different markets before. I think what was so special about this is, you know, when you, like, walk down the street and you see someone's, like, sign and, like, you go in and it's like, oh, cool, but it's like, oh, like, they're just, like, living their lives and this is their family and this is their, like, backyard party, and you, like, get a glimpse of it. But I was like, I was in it. Like, I was in that little, like, group, and it just felt so good to see, and to see so many people give up their time and their art and their craft, and, like, literally what you just said of, like, planning things and putting it together and seeing it come, and
people showing
up and it being executed really nice and just filled with so much, like, love and kindness was just really, like, it was perfect that it happened on a Sunday. There was great weather, there was yoga. I mean, it was just, like, so, like, filled with, like, it's just such good vibes. And I think that is my answer to that question.
I love that. I would agree. I feel like I witness a lot of things every day, and to your point, it's like I don't always really, like, make a note of them or, like, can consciously remember them. But this morning I went on a little walk because I needed to prep my playlist for my class, and I stopped at the coffee shop, and I love coffee shops and I love people watching, and I was just, like, kind of watching the interactions with the barista and the customers coming in, and, like, she knew most of the people coming in and, like, knew their orders, and, like, someone had their dog and she was like, oh, she's on a diet, she can't have a treat, and then was like, I don't know, I giggled at that, and then she started talking to me, and I just feel like remembering people's names and, like, being, like, I worked in the service industry for a little bit, so I understand how sometimes customers just suck, and, like, people suck and people are mean, but, like, making an effort, a concerted effort to, like, remember the regulars, and, like, I just think that that's really cool that she did that, and that those people felt seen and were, like, sharing a bit of their morning together, you know? Like, it was just a beautiful little interaction that I got to witness.
I love that. I actually have something else to add.
Okay.
My aunt was visiting over the weekend, this past whatever week, whatever. And she wanted to go to the dispensary, so I took her to the dispensary that I normally go to, or that I've gone to in the past, and they're dog friendly, so I typically would have brought the dogs with me, whether I, like, leave them in the car or they come in for a treat. Anyway, we pulled up, and it's 4:20, so it's literally, like, popping outside, and one of the ladies that always helps me, she always helps, like, she loves the dogs. She knows the dog's name. I don't even think we know each other. I don't know her name. I know she doesn't know my name. But I, like, pulled up. The windows were down because it was a really nice day, and she literally, like, stopped what she was doing, and she came out and, like, gave them a treat, and she was like, my babies, like, all this stuff, and it was just like, I don't know. You know, if you're a dog person, like, when someone shows your dog love and they're so excited to, like, see you, I'm like, oh, you've made it, lady. You're in the pack now. And so I think that was just, like, so nice of, like, she didn't have to do that. There were literally a shit ton of customers on, like, the day that she could be making all of the money, and she, like, stopped what she was doing. I think she was on her way back or to her break just to, like, I don't know, like, you don't have to do that. And that was just, like, so nice of her. Mm-hmm. Definitely, like, her personality. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, I think that's huge. I feel like that coincides with what we were talking about a second ago of, like, seeing people and remembering them and making an effort to acknowledge them. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like, oh, we're best friends now, but she clearly knows who you are. Like, you know when you've seen someone before.
Yes.
When you've interacted with people, especially multiple times, like, to pretend like you don't know them every single time is, I just think, kind of shitty to do.
Yeah.
Like, unless they're horrible and you really just don't want to acknowledge that you know them, but like, you don't have to remember their name.
Yeah.
But acknowledge that you know who they are, you know?
I agree. I think it's more so like people are just so afraid, you know, instead of like, oh fuck, I forgot their name, so now I'm just gonna like pretend that they don't exist, or like I acted dumb. Like, I think it just has more so to do with them, where it's like, if we just like broke down that wall and just was like, hey, oh my gosh, I saw you at this thing.
Yeah.
I totally forgot your name. Please remind me again. I'm so sorry. Like, if we just broke that barrier, it would be so much easier. But yeah, anyway, yeah, the service stuff just made me, you reminded me of that, so I wanted to share.
Thanks for sharing. I love this little book club we're having.
I know, me too. About the book that I didn't even fucking read. You have to pull it up to remember the name of the fucking thing. Oh my goodness.
It is on Spodio.
Spodio!
And I think it's like 30 minutes to listen to, so if you want to listen to it. The second thing is to share your niche love language, something that's outside the main 5 love languages. Whoa.
No. 5 love languages.
Which the 5 love languages are physical touch, acts of service, words of affirmation,
Gift giving.
Gift giving. I always forget that one, and it's yours. And what's the 5th one?
Physical touch. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Of course you did. That's yours.
Mine's physical touch. Yours is gift giving. Words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service. Don't know what I didn't say, but
Quality
there they are.
time, I think.
Oh, quality time.
Yeah. Which, oh.
What? Quality time? I'll take that over words of affirmation.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
I feel like
I haven't really been with anybody to have a love language with in a long time, so I don't even know.
Well, we're going to talk about that because you can have a love language without a relationship.
That's true. Do you want me to go first on this one?
Sure.
I've been thinking a lot about this too because everybody has so many cool answers, and during the book club, people had really cool answers, but I think I'm going to stick with the one that I said at the book club, and that is food. I think, like, because my love language is, like, gift giving, like, I appreciate when people see something and it makes you think of them, and I think that you can put so much of yourself into a gift, and you can put so much of yourself into food, and I think, like, it costs money. It's whether you're, like, buying a snack or you're making a snack or whatever, like, it is like manual labor that you put into something that you want to share with someone. It's just that act of like literally breaking bread with people. It just feels so special to me, and I think that that's when like you've not made it, but when you really do feel like a part and feel like loved is when someone like wants you to do that. Because like most of the time, like, you know, not most of the time, but you can tell like when you're like, I don't really want to have food at this party or like whatever it is, you know, like you don't, or like invite someone over to cook. Like I think those are very like intimate, beautiful things that you can share, like you were just saying, not in a relationship but with anybody, any friend, any sort of relationship that you have. It's always been very special to me, even like within my family. It's just like food is very important to me.
I love it. Do you have like a favorite meal or like a memorable food or something that you think of when you're thinking of that?
I think like coffee. When someone like makes you coffee, like their coffee at home, not like you don't go, I really do. I know that you can like go buy stuff, but I really mean like in your house is like when I'm thinking
food,
of like making food or it like being shared under someone's roof is more like what I mean. I do like going out to eat and getting coffee, but I think in this I mean like out. But I think like when someone's like, oh, I like make you coffee or something like that, I love that. Or like I love making people coffee.
She does make good coffee, I can confirm.
But even like within my family, that's been like, we're like very big on coffee and like making coffee and how you want it and all of those things. Like it's just so like when I was living with my dad, he would know, like, I don't want his half and half. I want the almond milk or whatever. And so that's how he would make it. Or like, Sophia likes it this way, all of these things. And then when I was living with my aunt and uncle, like, he would be the one that makes the coffee in the morning. And it would be like, okay, this is Tulie's because she likes it with this and the cinnamon and blah, blah, blah. And this is like mine because of the oat milk. It's just like, you know, it's just like the attention to detail things, like that. Yeah.
My, what is it, niche love language?
Yeah.
I feel like the example in there, it says like a Spotify playlist, and I was thinking that, but I was like, I don't think anyone's ever made me playlists. I think I enjoy making them, but like in terms of like receiving, I don't know that anyone's really done that for me before. It would be cool, but I'm also not like, I don't know.
Like, send me your music?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want someone to do that.
Oh, you're asking if I... Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually didn't hear what you said. I feel like that's not the same. Unless someone send me like a song or something, or like, I thought you'd like this song. That feels like personal instead of like, here's my playlist that I made. Like that doesn't feel like thoughtful to me. I mean, it's still nice. I'm stoked to listen to it, but it's not like, this is something I curated with you in mind, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like my answer is letters or cards. Like, literally, I do not need a single gift. If you write me a heartfelt note, I will sob and be so happy.
Yeah.
And, like, I keep every letter that I ever have gotten. And I have, like, notes from, like, people in, like, middle school. I save all of these things because I just feel like it's, like, so personal, and I don't know, someone took the time to do that, and I love it. So if you ever want to write me a letter.
I think I love that. It's just like, again, the time that it takes to do that.
Ellie and I used to write letters to each other.
Yeah.
That was so cute.
That was really cute. Before we moved into each other, we were good about that.
I know.
I love those. I have them.
Yeah, same. I was like, oh my gosh, I got mail.
I know.
From Ellie.
Just like those little things, like, I don't know. It's just so sweet, and like having someone think of you like that in that way. And again, that's like any kind of friendship, to just be able to like, or any kind of ship can just be able to take the time and like write you things is so nice. I love like notes and letters like that as well.
And like seeing someone's handwriting, I feel like that like I associate with their personality or like what I know about them, versus like a heartfelt text is still really nice, but you know, it's like, oh, that's like Ellie's handwriting, or that's like my mom or whatever. It's like,
feels like it'll last against time. You know, like it'll be there for a really long time.
Yeah, I agree. Which is a good segue into the next thing, which says, Hooks talks about how we're socialized to believe that romantic relationships should take precedence over all other relationships. She rejects this belief by saying, when we see love as the will to nurture one's own or another spiritual growth, revealed through acts of care, respect, knowing, and assuming responsibility, the foundation of all love in our life is the same. There is no special love exclusively reserved for romantic partners. While we necessarily behave differently depending on the nature of a relationship, the values that inform our behavior are always the same for any interaction. Do you agree that there is no special love exclusively reserved for romantic partners?
I love this question. I think it's like thought-provoking. I definitely recommend like all of those people that are listening to like stop or meditate. No, if you're driving, don't stop. But, like, think and really do like think about these questions and ask yourself, because I think you learn so much about yourself. And when it comes to like love and how you interpret love, especially this question in particular, I think for me, in the past, I have always like pushed aside like friends when I was in a relationship, or like a lot of my friends, like we were friends, so we would like, our friends would be together and then we would be together, and then it would just be like all of a sudden just like us, or then it would be like their friends. And I didn't really have like a sense of community outside, so I really felt like romantic relationships were relationships, like nothing else really existed. And now, like, thinking of that, like, there are so many relationships and like love that I have for people in my life. And I'm not even in a relationship right now, a romantic relationship. And I just think like, I think it's different. I also think I haven't had like the best experience with a relationship, so I can't really like speak on that too much. I think that's like different. But what I liked someone was saying before that I am going to steal is like, there, like my love, I mean, like my heart is so big. Like I don't, there's not like love just like stops. Like I continues to grow and flow and feel for these people regardless of who you are, but it's just like different based on like the love languages and what's important. Like I think when it comes to like a relationship, like a romantic relationship, I think even though physical touch isn't my like favorite thing to do, like I don't know if like I'm a huggy, want to like be close to you kind of friend,
Yeah.
but I think that that's important when it comes to a romantic relationship. So it's just different. And same, like I think, you know, about like my community and like the people that are most important to me, and I would say like my family. Now how I speak and love my family is very, very different than how I speak and love my friends here in San Diego. It doesn't mean that I love anybody more or less. I mean, I think like, you know, my family's gonna be like, whoa, wait, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like they're all so important to me, and I want to like make time for all of those things, but it just like looks different.
Yeah.
The more and more, I don't want to like put this into the universe because I think a romantic relationship would be awesome. I do want that at some point. But I'm not like dying. Like I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I'm not sad.
Yeah.
I'm not like, you know, I think if I were to put that on such a high pedestal, I would feel some sort of way about it.
I think that's, when I have done that, because I have done that, that's when I've been like the most overwhelmed, the most stressed out, the most unfulfilled, the most like
Fulfilled, yeah.
all the things. And right now I feel like I think what it talks about of like how you nurture relationships is like different, but that like base is the same. And I agree, because it's like, no, I'm not like making out with my friends, but I feel so fulfilled in my platonic relationships with them because of like the time that we spend together or the different acts of service and things that we like express love to each other, versus like my family. And like I don't feel that I have this like gaping hole, because I feel like I have so much love that I'm sharing with so many like people important in my life right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I've been in relationships and I have thought in my mind, like if you would have asked me this question 2 years ago, I would have told you I don't agree. I would have said that there is a special love for like romantic relationships, and that's why it's so different, and that's why you feel different, and blah blah blah. But then it's like when I've thought that way, and it's also the relationship, but I've like stopped making efforts with friends, stopped like nurturing those things, so that's why it's fallen apart, and then I'm putting everything into this relationship that's not working.
Yeah.
And that's not love.
I think so. I also think of like the things that are baseline important to me, and I think like mine, just me personally, is respect and loyalty. Like really, I think that those two are like my like core values.
Yeah.
I don't think that like when I am in a relationship that like all of a sudden my loyalty and my respect to my friends, like I've done that in the past. Like I will put all of that into a person, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, like talking shit about my friends, or like I mean, I'm very immature, and this was like back a while ago, but like, you know, like just not being the greatest person, but like expecting that from the like romantic love that I'm getting.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so now it's like I can step away and think that, and I think in all of the relationships that I have, all of the love that I have in my life, those are the two things that are steady. And like once I feel like there's a connection and that I love you, like the loyalty and the respect will never waver regardless of what kind of love it is.
Yeah.
That's my point.
And that's on period.
That's great.
Do you agree that the survival of friendships during a relationship can actually be an indicator of how healthy the relationship is?
100%.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of what we just talked about, but like to reiterate the point, I think if you don't have friends outside of your partner, not that it's like your relationship is bad, but like maybe think about why that is.
Mm-hmm.
And like, are you putting this love on a pedestal? Is there other opportunity for like nurturing relationships in your life that you've neglected?
Yeah.
Because those are also important. Like, now you only have this one person's perspective that's really like dominating your life. And like their behavior, what is the saying? You become like the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
So if you're spending most time with one person, like,
who are you?
You're not really cultivating like a well-rounded human.
Yeah.
You know?
I also think too, like, I can get overwhelmed with like big crowds and like a lot of people in my life. Like I do think I'm more of like a 1 or 2, that sounds bad, but like even still, like what I'm trying to say is if you're not like more of a friend kind of person and like your community is maybe your family, and then you get into a relationship and you all of a sudden like are not making your weekly calls to your mom or like making time to go do a dinner with your siblings, like that is like such a negative effect. And I think that's a sign of an unhealthy relationship. I think if you can manage your time, and also like you don't want, I don't know, to me I lose respect sometimes of people, and I know a lot of people that will like totally fuck other people off just to be with like whoever it is that they're trying to be with, and then what happens when shit hits the fan? Like no one else is around because you threw them away.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why I think that that's important. How has your community of friends evolved over the past few years? Think about changes like leaving college, moving cities, changing jobs, starting relationships, etc.
Yeah, wow. Let's see.
Do you want me to answer first?
Yeah, you go first.
I'm like asking you all the questions. I moved to San Diego at the end of 2019. I didn't know anyone here except for my cousin, and I didn't really see her that often because we have very different lives. And then COVID happened, and I was in a relationship, and I, again, just was like investing everything in this relationship, and like I had people that I had met here, but I was not making an effort to like spend time with them really. And like what's so interesting is I look back and like the people that stuck by me, I'm like, I'm glad you saw potential in me, because I was not really investing any time into our relationship. But like Catherine, who came on the podcast, she was my first friend here, but we were coworkers, and she invited me to things, and obviously it's like COVID, so there's only so much going on, but she like worked with my ex-boyfriend to like plan a surprise birthday party for me with like 3 other people, but that was like so kind. And like our other friend Sarah like invited me to her wedding when like I would consider her a friend, but I know I was not like the best friend she had, but to like include me in her like wedding and her bachelorette and like involve me in that made me feel very loved. And I think that like there's give and take in all relationships, and this is kind of what it's reminded me of like I was not the best friend, I think, because I had placed my romantic love on a pedestal, and 2 like was just drained in a lot of other aspects and wasn't taking care of myself. But like now I feel like I do have the energy and I am putting in the effort, and it's like I am giving what they gave to me, if that makes sense. So this is like a long-winded way of saying it's very much evolved in the last 5 years, but life has also evolved. And I think that the people that like see you and love you and like want to make an effort to have you in their life will usually stick around if you don't fully fuck them over in the process.
Yeah, I agree. I think I am like just now learning how to be like a decent friend. I think
I don't think so.
I think like moving around so much has been like great, but I think it was all like fake to me. Like looking back, not fake, but like very. I hardly. Okay, what? Stop. Shut up, I don't, you know, like,
like I don't know, like yeah.
No one understands what you're saying. I just think moving around a lot growing up taught me how to be a people person. Like I can hold a conversation. I can be a decent human being to people. Yeah. I don't think it taught me how to be a good friend. I don't think I had really great role models when it came to that. My mom had like maybe one or two, but they like really close friends, and a lot of the time it was just like their conversations over the phone. It wasn't like people were coming over all of the time. And even if they were, again, like my mom can be a very good like people person, like hold a conversation, and like we lived on a military base and everybody would be coming over, but then in 2 years we'd be leaving, so the like chance to actually get to know people on a deep level was never really like given to us. Like it just wasn't an opportunity. And so I was so excited for college because I was like, great, I'm going to throw myself into it. And I think my freshman year was like so great. I was able to do that. I think after freshman year, there was so many things going on in my life that I could like barely keep it together. And the only like two friends that I had, one was my partner and one was my roommate. And that was it. And then like when shit hit, like it was just a lot. And then so when my college years like finally came to a close, I was like, I'm ready to like bye, like I'll see you guys later, like I'm ready to be done. And I think there are a few friends that like really took the time during that time to get to know me, but even still, like I had that instilled in me then, like, oh, I'm moving, so like the opportunity and like my like task, I don't know what the right wordage is here, but like I didn't really reach out as much as I could have. Like I left the country and they went to go do their thing. It wasn't like we lived in the same area to like make the time to have like dates and hang out and do all of these things. And it would be like a message here and there. And like even still there are like a few that I do that to. But I think when I was coming back from Australia, I was so like in my head because I was like, my whole past has been nothing but boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend. Like, where are the friends? Like, where are the friends? And I think like that is when like reaching out to you became like such a pivotal point in my life when it comes to friends. Because again, like, yes, we were so close growing up, but to me it was like it disconnected. It was like, yeah, we were close, but it wasn't, you know what, it was fucking kids, you know? Like, are we the same? Who are we? Do we even like each other? I don't know. Let's find out.
Let's go get tatted in Portland.
Yeah, literally, like, what? And I think that was when I was like, okay, I think I can do this. So long story short, moving here has been like the way, like just seeing myself and how I am with friends. Like I have still so much to learn, and I kind of touched on this like 2 episodes ago as well, as like I'm just learning so much from you and like how much effort and how much like love it takes to have relationships with people. It's not just like you get to see them every day in class. Like that ship has sailed, you know, like it takes work, it takes time. And like, if you care for people and you want them to care about you, you have to put in some work as well. And I think I'm still learning that.
I think you can give yourself some grace though, because you do that with your familial relationships.
Yeah.
Like,
because we're
like the reverse.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, we are.
It's not that I like, obviously I love my family and like they're so important to me. I would literally die for them. But like, I'm not talking to them every day. I think it's like the out of sight, out of mind. Not that they're out of mind, but I'm just like, I'm thinking of them, but I'm not like, you know, because I can't make a plan with them.
Yeah. Which I think I should give myself credit, because even though I say that about like not moving around with the friendship part, but moving around so much, like it just, like my siblings, I mean, it's crazy. Like you don't need to move around to have like a deep connection. I see you with your siblings and it's just out of this world. But I think I'm very grateful for the way that my family and I communicate with each other and how we make it a priority. Like it takes work to call people and keep them updated, and my family does such a good job at that. And because my parents and my grandparents and my aunts and uncles were so good at that, I've now adopted that into my life and how I live. So that's what I do good.
That's me. Okay, the last one that we'll talk about is your favorite San Diego activity to do alone. Have you ever gone out to eat alone or seen a movie alone?
I have not gone out like to a restaurant, which I think is what this question means. I think most everybody here in San Diego has gone to like a coffee shop by yourself, either to do work or, you know, stop in for a second. but I've never done like a restaurant. I don't think that is my, like, I don't know if I would ever want to do that. I would feel very like, oh my God, like a little overwhelmed. But I do like being alone, and I think my favorite activity to do in San Diego alone, I can do it with people, but I also enjoy like going to the beach or going for a walk on the beach. It's just very like centering, self-centering, and like, well, not self-centered, but like
Just really makes me
feel nothing but
think all
about
about
myself.
Yeah, fully. I can go to the beach with people, but like if I need a meditative experience or like just to be with my thoughts, or I don't know, like take a deep breath, take a chill pill, going to the beach, walking along the beach is one of my favorite things. And we live by the ocean, so it's cool to do that.
Yeah.
But I have gone to restaurants by myself. I'm sure I've gone to the movies by myself at some point. Honestly, I don't really love the movie theater.
Me either.
Like, I'd rather...
If it had better snacks, I would like it. Just the movie theater snacks suck ass.
Not even that. I feel like it's like, I'm cold. And like, if I'm there by myself, like, I don't want you distracting me with your noises, and like, people are weird.
I know.
I don't know.
With your noises. What noises are you talking about?
I don't know, like they're chewing or their commentary or their,
That's
you
true.
know,
Also,
sniffling.
like, when you have a couch that looks like this, you don't want to go to the movies. You just want to grab a blanket and watch TV here.
It's so nice.
But I do think it's, like, what I like about living here so much, especially compared to Nevada, is there are so many things that you can do by yourself, because most everybody out and about is by themselves, too.
Yeah,
like, doing their own thing. It doesn't feel weird.
If you want it.
Yeah.
But, like, I've taken a book to a restaurant, and I've never sat at, like, a bar by myself. I feel like because if I'm going out to, like, eat by myself, I want it to be, like, a date with myself. If I'm going to sit at a bar, I would imagine people are going to talk to me, and I don't want them to.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring my book and sit at my little table in the corner and, like, do my thing, which is, yeah. Anyway, why are we talking about that? Well, because Hooks discusses the difference between loneliness and solitude, quoting Henry Nouwen. No friend or lover, no husband or wife, no community or commune will be able to put to rest our deepest cravings for unity and wholeness. Instead of running away from our loneliness, we have to turn it into fruitful solitude. There's a lot of conversation around the loneliness epidemic and the loss of third spaces, but not as much about loneliness versus solitude and our inability to sit in stillness or know comfort in the aloneness. Do you struggle with being alone? Are you comfortable with stillness? How has that changed since moving to San Diego? How has that changed since you've gotten older?
I definitely am comfortable being alone, but I think it's a lot harder for me to be alone in public spaces when there's like a lot of people around. I think I just get like very
You're
in
like
my
very
head,
aware.
very
that you're
aware.
alone.
Yeah, that I'm. Yeah, exactly. Which I think is like something to practice, because that's the whole point. I think it speaks to like where I am, like how, my comfortability in myself. Like I want to get to a point where like, yeah, I'm by myself, here I am. And I think I've tested myself that in like certain instances, and in the Be Bold challenge, like that was a struggle. Going to a coffee shop with no distractions and just like sitting there was where I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm alone and I'm fine, but I'm also very aware of how alone I am. I wouldn't say I was lonely, but I wouldn't say I was comfortable in the solitude either.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think like I should practice. But I think when I'm doing something and I'm by myself, like that is like so peaceful and beautiful. Like hike, like we just said, walking on the beach, going for a hike, walking up and down like the freaking, I almost said highway. What are those? This is a neighborhood.
Can't say I've ever done that.
You don't walk up and down the highway
Not usually.
to gain solitude.
It's so stressful.
Oh goodness. And I think I'm very
Put on,
like
Vicks vapor rub or something.
no.
Sorry.
Why did I smell my armpit? I've never put Vicks vapor rub in my armpit before. Why?
No. It smells like menthol or whatever that smell is.
Is it this?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
That was really I've been smelling it this whole time and I just needed to know.
Don't need to take a sip. I'm in the middle of talking. Okay. Yeah.
So sorry.
But I don't really think I feel lonely anymore. I think there was a point in my life where I felt so lonely.
Was it when you were in a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was not having any friends or making time for myself and what's important to me, and I felt horrible about myself.
Same.
Yeah, it was that time. And I think now, like, I am getting to a point where, like, I'm so comfortable in my body, and, like, yeah, there are hard days, but, like, I'm doing fine. Like, I'm okay, and I like where I'm at, that being alone isn't lonely anymore. Like, I honestly like it. I crave it sometimes.
I think for me, part of that reason is because of, I think that I'm okay being alone because of the community that I know that I have, or the people that I know that I have in my life.
Yeah.
I think when I've been really lonely is I've had a very unfulfilling romantic relationship, but I've also felt like I get on social media and I'm like, these are all these people that I like know, but like I don't have any actual connection to them, and like I don't feel like I have anyone. You know, like I was like, there's no one in my life, there's nothing that I have, and I'm sad.
Yeah.
And so like the stillness piece is like being able to sit with yourself without like looking at distractions, without like comparing your life, or, you know, I just think that like I can fully go and sit at a coffee shop and do that. One, because we've done it before, but also because like I'm not like so desperate for like to not be in my thoughts, you know, or to not like, because I feel okay with where I'm at with most things. Obviously, working to improve all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I think that's perfect how I would say it.
Amen. Okay, the last question, still relating to this topic, is why do you think we struggle with loneliness now more than in the past? What structures keep us feeling lonely? Who benefits from our loneliness?
I really just think COVID messed with a lot of people. I mean, it's a short rant. Oh, hold on. Dog barking. It's a short rant, but I just feel like this is so dumb of me to say. I hope we don't get canceled. I feel missed out on this COVID experience that everybody had. This whole like quarantine and being locked up and not being able to go
not
out.
Having a job.
Yeah, what the fuck? I was out wrangling fucking horses.
No,
I mean,
literally.
cows.
She doesn't even know what animal.
I don't even know what I was doing. And everybody's like, oh yeah, like it's 3 months at home,
my
like
side
business. I got to cook all the time. I did all this shit, and I'm like, I got to do nothing. By the time I came back to the States, it was like, okay, go to work, and I was like, fuck, I missed it.
Yeah,
that was my rant. Anyway, but based on hearing everything. Oh my god! Wow, that rant was crazy.
That was into my mic. Anyway, keep going.
I think that time being alone, people got really uncomfortable. You either like really liked it or you really hated it. And I think that just to this conversation is it almost kind of proved some people's point of like, oh, you can go through this alone. Like you can be by yourself, which is like great, but it didn't provide people, I think most people, the solitude that they needed. I think it was just like, oh yeah, like more like dividing, like let's keep everybody in their little box and they can buy everything online and get all of their, like stay in their little like units. When like in reality, I think it's so important to yes, have solitude, but just like the topic of conversation today is it broke away the community piece. And so I think that was like the worst part about all of that, and how I think some people were like, see, we don't need it. I think there are a lot of people that were also like, see, this is why we need it. I don't know, going back and forth with what I'm saying.
I think people tried to do it with like virtually, like virtual happy hours and all these virtual things, which was like, okay, cute for like a second. But then it's like, you need to see people in real life. Yeah. You need like that physical connection with someone. Yeah. Don't they say that you like need to have like 7 hugs a day or something?
Like you need to be like touched. Yeah. You know, like you have to have that interaction. And I think that when, I don't know, who benefits from it? I don't know. Me, I'm like fucking capitalism. I don't know. Bullshit, government shit, conspiracy things. That's
bullshit, government shit.
Government.
I just imagine a little, like, what is this?
Straw sticking out of my mouth. Just because, like, when I think of, I don't know, community and being apart with people, you're also able to be alone and be comfortable in that. And when you don't have that, you kind of shy away and kind of everything is like, see, this is why.
Yeah.
You know? Does that make sense? Is that a clear thought? God, I hope so.
Yep.
It did to me. That's what matters.
But I'm the only one here, so.
You ever think about that sometimes? We're just here. Like, just
talking to this camera on a box. I do. I actually think about it probably every episode. Like, I'll, like, come out of my body, and I'm like, this is weird that I'm just sitting on the floor crying right now.
I think about it when I have those, like, really weird tangents, like what I just had. I'm like, that wasn't a clear thought, and then I'm like, there's literally no one here, just like the wind.
And me.
And you.
Anyway, there are more questions, but I kind of feel like we said all the things. We got the gist, and I don't know what this was supposed to do for you. Maybe inspire you to, like, reach out to a friend or to continue to foster relationships with people. I get that it's hard. Like, I genuinely, this has taken me 5 years to feel like I have community in San Diego. Like, it did not just happen, and this is the longest that I've lived anywhere outside of high school. Like, I've never lived anywhere. I lived in Boise, but I went home every summer, and because of, like, how my scholarship set up, I had to, like, live with new people every year. So it's like, this has taken time, and I feel like when you move around a lot, it's difficult. So, like, investing in your familial relationships or however you can, like, there's other ways to do it, and it's hard, but it's important. And you don't need romantic relationships to have love. You can find, I can attest, you can find very fulfilling love in your life in other ways. Anything else you want to add?
I think just take time, answer these questions, kind of take stock of where you're at when it comes to your community and how you feel with, like, the loneliness piece of that. And I also think just taking it very back to the very beginning, the first question that we have is really practice. And this is, like, I'm speaking it to me, so when I hear this, I will remember, like, really practice to, like, work your brain to remember the really beautiful, like, pieces of kindness and joyous things that happen in your neighborhood, in your life.
Write it down.
Write it down. You have your notes, you have your phone, like, do something to remember that. Because I think that's just, like, so important. And once you retrain to see love and kindness and joy, you start feeling that more and more. And I think that's kind of like, I was saying this in another episode, is like, people feel that energy, and if that is what you're starting to pull out more, maybe that can help grow your community or see some of the beautiful pieces within the community that you may already have. So
yeah, snaps to that. Well, y'all, you know where to find us. Polite as Fuck Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us 5 stars, subscribe.
Do all the things.
TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.